Hall in Allegheny for this evening's debate. The CPP, the center, does a lot of things in the scholarly world and with our students. But I think one of the best things we do is debate, because it's our opportunity to hear directly from the candidates without the filter of the media. We listen, we take a look, and we make our decisions. But I think it's an important function, and it's a popular function, as we can see. What a wonderful crowd for a nomination debate. I'd like to also introduce Keith Gusher of the Negro Tribune. Keith will be helping with questions. And before I go through some rules for tonight's debate, why don't we introduce the candidates? I'll go down the line. As you can see, first is Steve Fisher, Annette France, Clayton Gregg, Paul Huber, Mike Kelly, and Martha Moore. A few bits of bookkeeping. First, Keith wisely told me to ask you all to shut off your cell phone. So if you could do that, that would be real handy. Our debate will be 90 minutes. The questions will come from Keith and from me. We've solicited questions from the audience, and I hope you've had an opportunity to put a question. Mary still has, and Attorney Silver, the program coordinator of the CPP. They've got a bunch of questions. The second half of the debate will put questions out of the box. We'll allow 2-minute opening statements, and we'll move in alphabetical order with our opening statements. Then we'll have questions, and each question will be answered in 2 minutes. And there's a timekeeper, one of my students up front. And then when it's 8:40, we'll have closing statements, and we'll come the other direction and reverse in alphabetical order. We're going to ask that the audience please hold their applauses to after the introduction, after the introductory statements. You can applaud if you like. And then after the closing statements. So you can feel free to applaud at the very beginning with the opening statements and at the end of the closing statements. So we want to get a lot of questions in, so if you can please hold your applause during the question and answer period, I would really appreciate it. So without further ado, welcome to tonight's debate. And Steve Fisher is our first candidate with an opening statement.
Good evening. Appreciate seeing all of you here. It is nice to see a crowd like this. My name is Steve Fisher. I'm from Cochranton, Pennsylvania, here in Crawford County. And I've never run for an office before, but the last couple of years I've had clients asking me to consider running. And this year I made the decision to do so. Part of the reason for that is I have 3 children and a grandson. And I'm very concerned about the future of their generations when I see how much debt we're placing upon them, the difficulty with finding jobs, etc. I've seen my clients struggling. I'm in the health insurance business, been there for 26 years. And I see my clients getting smaller and smaller. Not the number of clients, but the size of their employment, because their employees have had been let go because of jobs. I'm concerned about the government that we have. We just saw a health bill that was passed, even though the majority of the citizens didn't want that bill. Washington didn't seem to listen. They keep saying they hear us, but they're not listening to what we're saying. And after that, I'm concerned because they're talking about cap and trade. Some people say it's dead, we don't have to worry about it. But I think that President Obama knows in November there's going to be some changes. So he might try to move some things through again a little bit quicker than we would like. The same thing could come about with the amnesty for the illegal immigrants. These are just some of the many things that I'm concerned about. I'm concerned that our government wasted 14 months on a health bill and overlooked the economy, and we've lost a lot of jobs during that time. And we have to refocus this country. It's a great country. I think it's the best country in the world. And I'm proud of all the military veterans that have served to give us the freedoms that we have. One of the freedoms is the freedom to represent our fellow citizens. And that's what I'm looking to do. So on May 18th, I ask that you poll the 3rd for the 3rd. I'm in the 3rd position on the ballot. So with that, I thank you and look forward to talking with you this evening.
Good evening. My name is Ed France, and I'm also from Crawford County. One of the reasons why I've entered into this race is that I think the average taxpayer and their families do not have representation in Washington, D.C. You look over this district, and over the last 14 months, we have had Washington, inside the Beltway politicians that have focused mainly on the health care legislation instead of focusing on the health of this nation. this economy. We have 10% unemployment in this district. I work at the Erie General Electric plant. I've seen 1,400 people lose their jobs over the last 14 months up there. Each one of those jobs affect 4 to 5 other jobs. GE insources quite a bit of material. And if GE is losing employment up there, there's also other businesses that are laying off people. We need a congressional member that's going to focus on getting this economy back on track. One of the ways that I think that we can do this is extending the 2003 tax cuts that are set to expire later on this year. I think the main issue right at this moment in this country's history is getting this economy back. The second largest issue that I think that we face as average taxpayers is the 800-pound gorilla that's in the back of the room that nobody wants to talk about, and that's the national debt. $14 trillion is where the debt ceiling is at now. Last year when we financed that debt, that was at $12 trillion. We financed it by using $400 billion of your tax dollars. And that would have paid for our national health care system that nobody wants over a 2-year period if we didn't have that debt to finance. Again, I want to be the voice. I want to have a voice in this debate for the average taxpayer and their families who continue not to have a voice in Washington, D.C. Thank you very much for coming tonight. Hopefully we'll answer quite a few of your questions. Thanks.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Clayton Crabb. I'm from Butler, Pennsylvania, and I also am running for the 3rd Congressional District. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran that has taken an oath to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that is an oath that I take seriously. I believe that our Constitution is under attack. I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a Shriner, I'm a salesman, just like pretty much what everybody in this room is, just an average person that prior to this had never imagined that I would be sitting here today saying that I'm running for U.S. Congress, I'm #1 on the ballot, and I have a chance of winning. But there's a lot going on in the United States right now that is wrong. Our government derives its power from the consent of the governed. That's you and I, we the people. 3 very simple words, 3 very powerful words, and 3 divinely inspired words. And I'm not ashamed to say that we are a Christian nation. And I think we need people to go to D.C. that will stand up to that and say that we are going to fight for those things, those principles that we hold dear. I, like most of you, got tired of holding my nose every time I went to pull the lever come election time. And I know my Republican Party has let me down in the past. That is what has motivated me to run. I'm tired, I'm fed up, like most people, of a government that is out of control. I do not consent to a government takeover of health care. I do not consent to illegal immigration and amnesty. Those are things that are wrong. We need somebody that's going to go to D.C., that's going to stand up for the people and say it like it is, not compromise on those principles. There's right and there's wrong, and we need somebody that's going to go there that's not worried about a career, not worried about garnering power or wealth, but going there to do the people's work and then go home. The time is right this election cycle for somebody like me that is a citizen legislator that does not want to be there. I had no idea, like I said a year ago, and I was talking to my mother about this, that I would be here, but that's the way God works. He's awoken a lot of people in this country this past year. We continue to see more and more people becoming aware that they need to do something. This is my way of doing something. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
My name is Paul Hubert. I'm a lifelong social and fiscal conservative, and I'm running for Congress because Kathy Dahlkemper, Nancy Pelosi, and the liberals in Congress are taking this country in the wrong direction. I can offer better solutions, and I want to do that. We have had this Congress that has done nothing but enact one irresponsible piece of legislation after another for a long time. The TARP bill, the stimulus bill, the cap and trade bill, and more recently the health care bill, a real travesty. They've also